Welcome to the Virtual Realms YouTube channel. I'm Ranger 1. Today I've got a subscriber replay from one of my favorite contributors, Captain Romerick. And he's taking out the M36 GMC. The British called it the Jackson, after Stonewall Jackson, but we all know it as the Slugger. And Cap is going to use it to great effect, bedeviling the other team on the Carpathian map in War Thunder. Now, when I first watched this replay, I thought that Cap was going to simply head around to flank the enemy team, taking the southern route, but it wasn't quite what it appeared. You see, as things progressed, Cap headed further and further to the south, going into areas of the map that I had never explored before. He continued south and east, pointedly avoiding contact with the lone enemy heavy tank that he encountered along the way, and avoided detection as best he could. Finally, he went far enough south and east that he was completely out of the territory that I was familiar with. I'd never been on this side of the ridge before. And it occurred to me, somewhere in the midst of all this, exactly what he was up to. He was going to completely circumvent any push the enemy was making along this path, get behind them, and work his way into a flanking position on their cap. By taking the route that he did, he completely avoided detection. The enemy has no idea that he is in this very strategic position. And it was probably pretty wise. The Jackson, or Slugger, is really not much for a stand-up fight. He would have quite possibly gotten himself heavily damaged, if not destroyed, by that heavy tank following the southern route. So avoiding detection at all costs is pretty key to his strategy, and it's a pretty sound plan. From his position on this hill, not only does he have a view of both of the enemy spawn points, but of the enemy capture point as well. It's a great position to be in. And keep in mind, this is a realistic battle. There are things that we can see in this replay, the target markers over the enemy team, that he could not see. So visibility is key, and that's going to play a factor throughout this fight. You're going to see several times enemies that are quite apparent to us that there's no possible way Captain Romerick could have seen them, well, unless he had all the foliage turned off, and Cap just doesn't play that way, and neither do I. He's going to maneuver around a little bit on top of this hill and look for a likely position to snipe the enemy team. And there's his first target that he's picked out, just spawned in, SU-152, and Cap makes short work of him. That fellow wasn't even slightly aware that Cap was here. This is a tactic that would not work well in arcade mode. You'd be spotted as you tried to make your way to the top of the hill and immediately targeted. And for a lightly armored tank destroyer like the Slugger, well, that's a sure sentence of death. Now, he spotted that T-44 over there, but he doesn't have the gun elevation to hit him, so he's got to back up now. We're going to watch this whole fight completely from Cap's view so that you will see exactly what he sees, well, and a little extra. It looks like we're making a play for their capture zone at this point, but it's a bit early in the match for that to be too successful. There's too many active enemy team members coming out of those spawns. Cap's going to love a shot over in that direction, but, well, he can't really see that tank very well, and now he can. And he can get a bead on him. He's going to support his team. That shot doesn't do anything significant, but he's got plenty of time to line up another one. There we go. 2 tanks down already, primarily due to excellent strategic positioning in this map. Now, this isn't Cap's ordinary style. Cap, in the replays that I have seen, has been a very much an in-your-face kind of player. This is the first time I've seen him play a more strategic role in a match, and I have to say, he's doing it very, very well. Hats off to you, sir. This is very, very good planning. The Cap can't see any enemies currently, so he's going to reposition along this ridgeline at the top of the hill. He doesn't know it because he can't see them, but most of the enemy team is over closer to his base and capture point. The team that he's on is putting up a spirited fight, however, and is going to start inflicting casualties here very quickly. And that is going to cause more of the enemy team to end up back on this side, which is going to play to Cap's advantage. All he has to do is be patient. And there, he's spotted another tank, another T-44. Sends a shot in his general direction. Again, visibility is an issue here. He doesn't have a clean line of sight. There's too many obscuring trees in the way, but he manages to end up fairly accurate anyway. He's going to have to play this a little cautiously and try to inflict damage without getting spotted in return. Even if that means he can't lob as many shells in the enemy's direction as he would like. Now that's a tricky shot. That T-44 was on the move. Cap's going to be patient. He's going to track them. Got to reload. And there's an even better target, that IS-2. He slams a shell into it. It's still alive. The reload on the Slugger is a little on the slow side. It hits awfully hard. It just takes a while to reload. He slams in another shot. And Cap's going to have to watch it. I don't think he's quite aware of the fact of how many of the enemy team have spawned in over here. There's the T-44 again. He loses track of him temporarily. There he goes. Reacquires. They're retaking their own capture zone. It was a good solid hit, but it doesn't take him out. But Cap has plenty of time to continue to try. They don't have any idea where those incoming shots are coming from. Slams another shell home. The T-35 or T-34-85 is closing in as well, piloted by Alex. And Cap can't see to place his shots accurately, so he's going to reposition again on the other side of the intervening trees and see if he can't get a better line of sight on the target. And there we go. Now he's got a good clean shot. Takes him down. 3 kills. And his team has managed to put in some excellent support fire. It looks like for the moment their spawn or their capture point is clear. And he's scanning for another target. Again, he can't see these fellows to the right. Now he just spotted one there, an IS-2. Puts a good shot in, misses the ammo rack though. And it looks like he may have done some damage to the engine, maybe not. The IS-2 is looking for him, doesn't know where he is. He puts a perfect shot into the weak point of the IS-2's armor, but doesn't take him out. The IS-2 though has spotted his general position, and he has to reposition quickly. Stopped by that friendly tree from going a little too far. Had he lingered where he was at, he would have been definitely spotted and probably would have taken a lethal shot in return. So he gives up that advantageous firing position, but he has preserved his cover and his ability to inflict further damage on the enemy team from behind enemy lines. The Cap's team is formed up and they're retaking their own base, their own capture point. And that's essential. But that means that Cap is way on his own. There is no one here to back him up. The only thing keeping him alive right now is the fact that the enemy team really isn't aware of his position. So stealth is key right now. Again, these are tactics that would never ever work in arcade mode. But in realistic mode, they work like a charm. ZSU 37 down for the count. Looking for more targets. He catches a glimpse of that T-44 over there, but he can't see him through the trees. He has no idea where he is. He's going to have to wait for a better opportunity. He's going to keep backing up. He's got plenty of cover here. He knows they're retaking their own capture point, but there's not much he can do about it. until he gets back in a better position. Again, he spots the T-44 through the trees, tries to nail him, but he only caught a glimpse of him. That was a pretty accurate shot considering he didn't really have eyes on him at the time that he fired. Alright, well, he knows that guy's out of view and likely not going to be a target. Waits, yes, and as the enemy team moves forward, IS-2 presenting a beautiful shot. If he can capitalize on this now, just get reloaded. The IS-2 still doesn't know exactly where he is. 5th kill. That was extremely well done. Now we can see that other IS-2 over to the left, and I think that might be who just called in artillery on Cap's general position, but apparently he doesn't really have a clear line of sight on Cap because the artillery is further downslope from his actual position. And of course, Cap can't see that IS-2 over there on the other side of the trees, just like he can't see the T-44 that eluded his targeting reticule just a few moments before. But he knows he's out there somewhere, and he's looking for him, trying to gain some altitude on this hillside, trying not to give his position away. He's scanning for him, doesn't see him. It makes you want to scream sometimes watching these replays. You know exactly where the enemy is, and he looks right past him but can't see him. See, right now, if he's looking in the right position, he could easily spot that T-44, but he wasn't looking in quite the right spot on the map. There's another enemy player very close at hand, right below him on the slope. And again, Cap cannot spot him because of the intervening foliage, but that's all right. That fella down there can't spot Cap either, so while it works against Cap in some ways, it saves his life in others. There, he's finally spotted a target, Toto 85 and an IS-2, trying to move into the Cap zone. That's a long shot. Oh, I think he was just slightly off on that. Artillery's been called in an attempt to stop him that way. And Cap nails the IS-2 and stops the Cap. Cap's team's gotten pretty beaten up. A couple of them are respawning, though, and heading back to defend the friendly capture point. And it looks like a lot of Cap's team are now in the air, which has its good points and its bad points. Cap is now resting comfortably on 6 kills, soon to be 8. He's scanning for more targets. Missed that one over to the left. Scanning, scanning. From here right now, he has no targets, so he's going to be patient and wait. He knows that to close on his friendly capture point, the enemy team is going to have to cover some open ground. And that's open ground that he can see fairly well. It's only by a fluke that none of them are currently in Cap's line of sight. Cap's teammate, Odesset, I think that's how he's pronounced. Odesset, yeah, has retaken the friendly capture point in his M41A1 and is moving forward, found a little bit of cover, and seems to be taking fairly heavy fire. There are still shots heading in from Cap's side of the map toward our friendly capture point, and he's trying to get some idea of where the enemy tankers are. So far he hasn't had much luck in spotting them, so he's going to change position one more time. He sees movement way over on the other side of a tree line. He manages to tag the engine of that T-44 and set it on fire. And he cannot see the tank, but then suddenly he notices the smoke from the engine fire just a little to the left of where he's aiming. He readjusts his aim and manages to pick off his 7th kill. That was a magnificent shot on a target he could not see. Just something to keep in mind. It's awfully hard to hide when you have an engine fire. Cap's team this round has done a pretty good job. I mean, they've been beaten up pretty badly by the enemy team. The enemy team is really doing a good job themselves as well. But if it wasn't for Cap being in the position he's in right now, I think they would have steamrolled Cap's team in pretty short order. But he has bedeviled them from this sniper spot the entire match. Now Cap does not see that T-44 right in front of him. He's looking out in the distance, scanning for targets over closer to his base and capture point. He is completely unaware of the threat directly in front of him. Until that shot right there. Now he's aware that he's under fire. He does not know where it's come from, but he's looking for it. Still hasn't. And now I think he's finally realized that it's closer than he thought it was. And he's desperate. He's got to get down off this slope, and as soon as he starts moving, there I think is the first time that he realizes exactly where the threat is. He'll hit this tree, which brings him to a stop, but actually that works out pretty good. His gun comes down, then back up. One shot goes in. He does not get the kill. He manages to absorb yet another shot, which is saying something considering the slugger's light armor. Riddles him with machine gun fire. It's Toto 85. Manages to slip in the killing blow. That was very close. He just almost bought the farm there. You see, you can only maintain a spot like that for so long against the enemy team before they spawn back in and have a pretty good idea of where you are. And Toto wasn't the only one who figured it out. A shot came in right in front of Cap, and there he spots it. Again, right in front of him, Nick Doom is up on top of that outcropping of rock. This is going to be a very, very bad situation for Cap. He may be able to get in the shot, but he doesn't have to. His team comes through. Now, Cap might have been able to handle that on his own, with Russian gun depression being what it is, but Nick was really in a pretty good spot. He was kind of angled toward Cap, so he might have been able to get his gun down and bring it to bear. And Cap, his slugger is torn up badly. So, well, it's anybody's guess who would have come out the winner in that particular contest. I'd hate to have to try and hang my hat on the difference. Despite the fact that the enemy team has been very competent throughout this entire match, Cap has managed to torment them since almost the start. He has almost single-handedly kept them from overrunning his base on more than one occasion, and when he couldn't stop them completely, he at least delayed them long enough so that his team could mount an effective defense. As always, Cap, an excellent match, and thanks for turning it in. That's all I've got for you this time around. And until I see you again, good hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.